Size-wise, this is not my size, okay? This is not my size because I'm tiny. After PogChamps, what I would like to do is to learn the skills of each and every student of mine. I mean, as much as I can. Like, I'm a noob. Now that I'm their coach, and I'm a very strict coach. I want to have our roles reversed after PogChamps and have one stream where they teach me their game, their expertise. I'd love to be a noob. I want to be a noob. I want to learn what they know. So that's my idea. No way, Jaron, I have zero talents. My one talent is to be me, because I think that's the one skill I have, is to be comfortable in my skin and be myself. Oh, do I have an upcoming? Thank you so much. Thank you for that, bae. Whoa! Leaked! Thank you so much, bae. Thank you for gifting us up to Jaron, and thank you for updating my Moobot. Guys, okay, so I did not leak it. Moobot leaked it. Moobot leaked it. Let me read it out. I am Levi Roseman, aka Gotham Chess, and I will be covering Hikaru's next event starting on September the 11th, sponsored and run by the Club of St. Louis. The event is 3 days Fisher Random Chess, including Garry Kasparov, the GOAT himself, will be playing, then a rapid event followed by a blitz event. Participants, the field for these events includes Magnus Carlsen, the current world champion, Garry Kasparov, the former world champion known as the greatest of all time, Fabiano Caruana, Maxim Veselagrov, Levon Aronyan, Peter Svidler, Vasily So, Alireza Firuza, and more. That is the announcement. That is the announcement. I did not leak it. I did not leak this, right? I did not. It was Moobot. Moobot leaked it. So yeah, I'm gonna be back on Hikaru's channel. I'm gonna be back. Blame Moobot. #cancel Moobot. Have I ever played against Kasparov? No, but I have a photo with him. I went to the Chess Olympiad in 2012, Bled, Slovenia. As a fan of chess, with my chess club we traveled. From Hungary we took a bus to Slovenia. It was a bus that was basically rented out, so a couple of us from the club went to Slovenia for just the weekend to see the legends, the best players of the world competing. I was still, how old I was? 14, 15. I was nowhere near getting into the Olympic team, but I was there collecting signatures. I had a little notebook and I was collecting signatures of my heroes, and I took a picture with Kasparov, which was huge for me because the Olympiad is a gigantic event. There's loads of people, and when he finished his game, so he was still competing in 2012. Was it 2012? I think so, or earlier. I don't know now the year, and I'm confusing it, but he was still competing, and when he finished his game, he stood up and he was just being followed by a crowd of people. Everyone wanted a photo with him, everyone wanted a signature, but because I was this tiny girl, and he must have seen that I was trying to get to him too. He accepted my request for a photograph, and the others weren't allowed because he was just trying to get back to his hotel room. Of course, it's very difficult to be such a star and everybody wants a piece of you. But I was a tiny girl, and he must have felt pity for me because I was trying to get my way in the crowd and get to him, and I got to take a picture with him. I was one of the few people that got to take a picture with him. And then fast forward a couple of years, and I'm confusing the years. In 2012, he was already not competing. It was way before. But yeah, what I was just going to say is that fast forward a couple of years, and I myself was already on the Olympic team. He wasn't competing anymore, but he was already and is still very much fond of promoting chess. And then he started the Grand Chess Tour together with the St. Louis Chess Club, the same St. Louis Chess Club that will be organizing the event that we will be broadcasting on Hikaru's channel. So The Grand Chess Tour in Leuven 2016 was an event where I was a commentator, and he was there, of course, because of being one of the brains of the event, being one of the main promoters of the tour. So I got to talk to him there in person, and that was a very different scenario when I'm on the team. Basically, I'm on the team that is running the event that he had the idea of launching.
24 hours later.
Recently, chess.com has published an article about Carlsen and Kasparov will clash for the first time in 16 years, and that's gonna be starting in a few weeks. An event that will start in a few weeks in St. Louis, but played online. So that's gonna be organized by the St. Louis Chess Club, same organizers as the Grand Chess Tour. They have put an amazing show during the Grand Chess Tour, bringing on an epic field with epic coverage by the St. Louis team, as well as the Champions Showdowns in St. Louis, the US Championships. So now they will have an online Champions Showdown, Fischer Random, and also Rapid and Blitz. And Garry Kasparov, the GOAT himself, will be playing and facing Magnus Carlsen the first time in an official event after their clash in 2004. 2004 was the last time these two played against each other in an official game. The rest were exhibition matches, exhibition games, such as in St. Louis, but this one is an official event and the two will face each other. It's crazy. Apart from these two GOATs, another GOAT that will participate in the event is of course Hikaru Nakamura, and I'll be back on Hikaru's channel to cover the event. This is tiny Magnus versus not so tiny Garry. We could watch this clip. This is actually a really important, historically important clip. And I'll be on Hikaru's channel covering the event with Levi Roseman, Gotham Chess, and of course Hikaru himself will be joining us every day after his games. Let's watch first the clash, the last official clash between Magnus Carlsen and Garry Kasparov. So we're gonna take our time machine and travel. We're gonna take the time machine, but also I'm gonna fix my camera first. We're gonna take the time machine and travel all the way back to 2004. 2004 this is.
Kasparov is a much feared opponent and the man Magnus will meet next.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for it.
I don't know which animal he...
Okay, I mean, I saw first the cheers, but now I'm like, whoa! Thank you so much, Kevin, for the 85,000 bits. Like, I haven't even seen a number of that size when it comes to cheers. Thank you so much. That is insane.
Kasparov is a much feared opponent and the man Magnus will meet next.
I don't know which animal he is at most, but something like a lion could be a possibility.
I think he's...
I didn't see that coming. Back to this.
Possibility.
I think he's the greatest chess player who ever lived. He's so much into the game that his behavior can be quite obnoxious.
Magnus is preparing for the big match in his own way.
His favorite Donald Duck. That's his preparation. That was his preparation. And also
yes, this match is quite interesting. I think it's a great opportunity for Magnus, but I think he has no big chance in this match today, with full respect.
With full respect.
Magnus is ranked number 700 in the world and Kasparov is ranked number 1.
Number
there are 28 years separating the two. This is an...
Did you guys pick up on that? Magnus Carlsen, we know him as the current number 1 at everything. Number 1, he's the world champion at Blitz, Rapid and Classical, of course, and the number 1 by rating. But we know. Thank you so much, Wagamama, for hosting us. Thank you so much for the support. Wagamama has just finished his match. Nicholas, we were watching as Nicholas was fighting, and I'm so proud of Nicholas. He did really well. There was one mistake, but that was more also the psychological side of it. So Nicholas, if you are listening, I will have one tip there about that moment, and I think I know why psychologically that was very difficult to know that knight takes b4 was actually not a good move. So if we have another coaching session, I will give you tips about that, because that is not a chess mistake you made there. That was a psychological mistake, and that is a very common thing, actually, very common. So I'll tell you more about it if we have a next training session. We are watching a video clip of Magnus Carlsen from the year 2004, when he was ranked only number 700 in the world, 700 or so. 2004, that means that Magnus was not even 14 years old. He's 13 and something, depending on which months, because he was born in November 1990. So this is 13-year-old Magnus Carlsen, ranked 700, facing the GOAT, the world champion, Garry Kasparov. I'm gonna replay this part for the newcomers because we are only 1 minute in, and I think this is a funny bit. Let's start from the beginning again.
Kasparov is a much feared opponent and the man Magnus will meet next.
I don't know which animal he is at most, but something like a lion could be a possibility.
So good.
I think he's the greatest chess player who ever lived. He's so much into the game that his behavior can be quite obnoxious.
Magnus is preparing for the big match in his own way.
He loves his Donald Duck. That's also in the documentary about Magnus, and in interviews he said multiple times too. This was his favorite preparation. Of course, he prepared a lot chess-wise too, but he did like his Donald Duck. He did. And about Kasparov, what I wanted to add, when Durkheim is the chief editor of New in Chess, the top chess magazine in the world, he said that Kasparov can come across as obnoxious. And a lot of his opponents, a lot of top chess grandmasters who played against Kasparov back then when he was the world champion, they said that you could lose the game against Kasparov before starting your first move. Before making a first move, you may have lost the game already just by his presence, the way he would behave and sit there, and just the power that was coming across from his posture and his behavior, the way he looks at you, the way he shakes your hand, and you would crumble just from his presence. And those were some of the top grandmasters facing him, not a beginner, but super grandmasters. And he was already just like showing so much of strength and power with his sole presence that you probably lost the game before it even started. That's how the opponents of Garry Kasparov were talking about him, and how it was to sit in front of that beast, because he was a beast. He was. Let's see now this clip where 13-year-old Magnus Carlsen faces this beast, the lion, the goat, for the first time.
Yes, this match is quite interesting. I think it's a great opportunity for Magnus, but I think he have not big chance in this match today, with full respect.
No chance against Kasparov, with full respect. And I also see the chat, Lefka saying to Nicholas that he also needs to read Donald Duck to beat Hafu. Maybe that's the secret. Also notice the orange juice. Magnus used to play every single game of his for a long time, even years later, even when he was already a grown-up. He used to bring a bottle of orange juice to every single game. That was his go-to drink, a bottle of orange juice. Here I am drinking tap water, but he had his orange juice. He had his orange juice. Now it's a different kind of thing. He does have a sponsor that's a mineral water, but he likes his orange juice. He does like his orange juice. Let's continue.
Magnus is ranked number 700 in the world and Kasparov is ranked number 1. There are 28 years separating the two.
28 years.
This is an historic moment. Kasparov has never played against anyone this young. Kasparov has been paid a lot of money to be at this tournament, but he is nowhere to be found.
He's late. He's late.
The others have already started their games and the clocks are ticking.
There's another former world
Magnus is
champion
ready,
there,
but Kasparov just isn't showing up.
Karpov there.
När jag satt och väntade på Kasparov så var det... Jag tänkte, kan han inte komma snart? Och så prövade jag bara slå mig till ro.
Dad is nervous. The whole family has prepared for this match and it's tiring to have to sit and wait like this.
Jag ville gärna spela mot han.
Calling Mr. Kasparov.
Calling Mr. Kasparov. There we go, the first move. Current world champion versus future world champion. If only he had known. If only he had known. That was a confident move. He's not intimidated. Magnus, 13-year-old Magnus, is not intimidated. Kasparov's facial expressions. He has always been a very expressive player. True, Nicholas. Nobody can beat Hikaru when it comes to expressions. And Magnus just stands up. Like, can you... Magnus, 13-year-old Magnus Carlsen, he doesn't have that much time. You saw his clock, he was already down to 8 minutes. But he's so confident about his position that he just decides to stand up. For those of you who are not familiar with over-the-board chess, this is possible and it's not disrespectful. So... just to put it in context, that over-the-board tournament, since it's usually longer time controls, you can just walk away when it's not your turn. So you cannot stand up when it's your go, but you can always stand up to walk, to go to the bathroom, to get some snacks, have a drink, or check the other boards. You can check the other games when it's not your turn. But it's interesting that Magnus, at the age of 13, felt already so confident about his position that he doesn't feel like he has to sit there, calculate and keep constantly thinking about the position, but he can just have a bit of a walk.
Magnus is leading by 1 pawn, but he doesn't have much time left.
3.5 minutes. I like that. That deserves a replay. That deserves a replay. From then for Kasparov, not an easy position, and then
A draw.
a draw.
It's a sensation. Magnus managed to draw against Kasparov. Kasparov couldn't beat
His
Magnus.
sisters. He just stood up and went away.
Magnus mødte Kasparov og pressede ham ganske hårdt med hvid. Det blev remis. Bare det, at han ligesom spiller lige op med Kasparov i et enkelt parti. Jamen, det tror jeg er et drøm for mange spillere, og det lykkes for en 13-årig. Det beviser et stort potentiale.
That was Grandmaster Peter Heine Nielsen from Denmark. But this moment after the game finished...
A draw. It's a sensation. Magnus managed to draw against Kasparov. Kasparov couldn't beat Magnus.
Of course it was super disappointing for Kasparov, as you heard it from the video. This was the youngest opponent he ever faced at such a serious tournament, because you may play against children at exhibitions and when you give simultaneous exhibitions, but at a serious competition at top level chess, to have a 13-year-old kid sitting in front of you, and he was a pawn up. Magnus was playing for a win in the game, and Garry had to bail out and fight for a draw. That's not something that the world champion Kasparov was used to. That's definitely not something he was used to. Did they not shake hands? Wait a second, I didn't catch that. They should normally. At the very beginning of the game and at the end of the game, there's always a handshake. Oh, there it is. I wasn't sure, but yes, he just then went away. You normally would also set the pieces back, but when it comes to boards like these type of boards are the so-called DGT boards. It means that if I see correctly, although this is a footage from 2004, but nowadays these type of boards would mean that they have sensors in it, so that when a piece is moved, that immediately appears online, and that's how we can do coverage of the games. So they play over the board, and it's not that we need to write the moves down and then put it in the computer, but the pieces and the board have sensors, and whenever a piece is moved, it appears instantly online, the move that has been played. So with these kind of boards, we don't set the position back normally. But if it was a regular chessboard, if it was a normal chess set, then at the end of the game, after the handshake, you usually set the pieces back, your own ones, so each player with their own pieces, but not this type of board. So that wasn't a sign of disrespect or just that Kasparov didn't care. That's normal with this kind of board. If I see correctly that it's a DGT board, although I'm looking, it also should have cables and I don't see the cables, but normally, yeah, with DGT boards you don't need to set the pieces back. But this was huge, of course, huge success for Magnus, 13-year-old Magnus Carlsen. There you see his parents and one of his sisters. At the beginning too, the whole family was there. They basically took a year to travel with Magnus to tournaments of his. They rented out their house and they went with him traveling the world to take him to the best possible tournaments. A champion was made, but for a long time it required tons of support like this. His whole family was backing him when it came to going to tournaments, having a trainer, just supporting him in every possible way. I was trying to find here the footage too, where his sisters appear. Did I skip that too already? Not sure, but I met the whole family in person already, of course, a couple of times. His sisters are super nice too, and yeah, it's just very inspiring to see how this is a success story, but a family success. Magnus is the one that's known as the world champion, the #1 player, but without his family being this supportive, who knows if he would have gotten this strong. You cannot just do it on your own, and I think this is clearly a family success story. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. We also need to take a look at something very different. This was a bit of historical background for the upcoming St. Louis tournament, where Garry Kasparov and Magnus Carlsen will face each other after 16 years. They will face each other again. As you know, Kasparov has retired since, so he's not an active chess player, but he will be competing at the event organized by the St. Louis Chess Club. Fischer Random, Rapid and Blitz will be on the menu, and Hikaru will be participating too, so Levi Roseman, Gotham Chess, and myself will be covering the event on Hikaru's channel. Oh my!